All right, it's been a while. Quite a delay here with this clutch center. Kind of parts issues, if you will. Anyhow, I did get this one together with quite a bit of trimming. I just put some Loctite on these screws. I'm going to flip it over, take the lid off. You can probably see a little how much I trimmed. Got it close to how these are shaped as best I could with that, and a Dremel tool and a lot of those sanding discs. Definitely time consuming. While I was doing that, I'd ordered a new one. I was waiting on it. Showed up. It's a little bit different. So it's got through bolts. I believe that's a Triumph part number. But yeah, going to flip this over. And I'm curious what this, kind of curious about how this thing is too. Just gonna take the lid off that, compare the two. All right, there's the the one I modified. You know, I had to do quite a bit of trimming here, all the way around, and in this area here. It took a while. It took another guy helping me get these in. The rubbers in. I've done it once before. My Thunderbolt wasn't that big of an issue, and I went about it the same way, and then that's when I ended up breaking this one. So kind of a parts dilemma. But thankfully there's people that make, I would say they make them, but they sell these, and they might have somebody making them for them, not too sure. But the one from these guys here, that made it, there was quite a bit of material that had to be removed from this unit to get it to play nice. And I still got to work on this one. It looks like I took the lid off. This rubber might need a little worked, a little more down in there, but sure it's functional. All right, got that one there worked in there a little better. Also, I noticed obviously these bolt holes are bigger than the through bolts versus these got, you know, threaded screws on each side. Definitely more area here, you know, compared to the original. So yeah, cool these guys are making these, or somebody's making them for them. They're out there. All right, got that back together. Throw this one in the basement for spares. Yeah, I got to figure out where I was at with all this. I'm gonna install those rubbers for the alternator, and work on getting the clutch back in this, and start piecing this back together. All right, real quick here. We got this little grommet or seal here. It's part number 71-1345. Now this one here, this is our bad or worn one. Here's the new one. It's 68-0209. In my book, they don't have the 0 in front of the 2. It's item 6 there, oil seal. By the way, this is the generator feed wire grommet oil seal. 6 there, you can see it. Nowhere do I see where this other seal would go. Pretty sure online, for a quick read, people say it goes on the inside. I guess I can show you here this other engine. Flip this over for our viewing pleasure. And let's see. See right there? Right. It's kind of hard to show. But right there is where I think people are putting that. That's a tough reach, in my opinion. When the engine's assembled and just feeding the wires through there, I think it would give more, a little bit of grief. I know guys do, and what I'm going to do is add a little silicone down the tube before squeezing that before putting that on. Even in the book here, it'll say, you know, thread stator wires through guide tube, and then slide the rubber sleeve over the guide. That's in a newer book too. Let's see here, 63 to 72. You know, this shop manual or this parts manual covers that's for 67. Anyhow, this book here, there's no mention of it, and that's 66, 67, 68. So I think somebody has added that, possibly from a Triumph. Don't know anything about Triumphs, don't own one. Maybe that's where that came from. Anyhow, I can see how people would use it, but I'm not. My reason being, I'll slide this over. Before I'll do that, I'll show you the tube I'm talking about. Here's the tube. All right, got the new grommet on there, or seal, oil seal. And alternator, generator wires are fed. Got a new thrust washer here. It's got this chamfer on it, on the edge there. People I bought it from, they mentioned it goes on the inside. So you have these tabs here for. See how that one's pretty beat up, about ready to break off. That would normally go in there like so. So here's our chamfer in. We're gonna put it down facing that way. And we're gonna get our rollers all lubed up that ride in here and in this assembly here. All right, it says in here, if a chain wheel's been removed from the sleeve, grease the roller track, assembly of 20 rollers, slide the chain wheel over the rollers. Greased up that thrust washer, this area too, and onto the rollers. All right, got the chain wheel surface areas greased up. Got that thing sitting on a little bearing under there. I'll set that down on top there and arrange the rollers around it. All right, rollers are greased up and installed. I also put some grease on the surfaces here. We're going to take these bolts. These get put in here. And we're going to work at putting this piece, clutch center, into there. All right, here we go. Going to get the chain, primary chain and sprocket on here, chain wheel. Got the Woodruff key right here. Hopefully I don't knock it out. Knocked it out before and found it down here. And yeah, that caused some grief. Yeah. There's a little bit of play in that clutch center. Ever so slightly bit of play. Come on, wire. Work with me. Okay. That keyway. Need a light. Okay. Seems to be going on a little crooked. Well, for a second there, I thought I had this keyway maybe mixed up with the other one, but a little bit of persuasion. Oh, not knowing why that doesn't want to slide down there. I need pull it off and investigate, I guess. A little bump skitty, ever so gently. It looks like that's home. Tab washer goes first. Other washer. Put a little blue Loctite on the nut. Gonna get the adapter there to hold the chain wheel. All right, here we are, rotor fixing nut, 60 foot-pounds. Clutch center nut, 75 foot-pounds. I'm gonna put the washer for the clutch center in, spacer. A little blue Loctite on there. No lock washer on this one. Sockets and torque wrench. All right, got one of these Tusk clutch tools. Also got this tool here. I'll get that fed in here. Gonna run down the nut on the clutch center. All right, I got it set at 72.5. Wow. Come on. All right. Center nut here is 60. Ooh, she's slipping. Damn it. Let's try that again. Got to reposition a little better. We'll see how that goes. There we are, 60. Pull that out, the old magnet. Yeah, definitely don't want to leave that in there. Could have bent this tab over. There we go. Get the stator on. Well, how hard do you want to pound your head on the ground? Well, pretty hard. Yeah, that happened. All right, it's going to be the end of the video here. I need to kind of get this one wrapped up. Took a lot longer, parts issues and whatnot. Some life things happened, got in the way, you know. You know how that goes. Anyhow, I'm going to get the stator on, and the torque for that is stator fixing nuts, 10 to 15 foot-pounds. I got an inch-pounds wrench, 120 to 180, and there's an air gap. I'll show you that here in the book. Yeah, real quick, I couldn't couldn't remember for sure if I had noticed this before. Secure the clutch by replacing a distance piece, the recess side outwards, self-locking nut, torque to specs. But yeah, I had it right, took it off just to make sure. Goes right in there. Anyhow, I'm gonna throw that back on and torque it. All right, it says place a stator over the 3 studs so that there are leads on the outside at approximately 2 o'clock. Place 3 self-locking nuts with the torques, like I said, 10 to 15 foot-pounds, 180 to 120, or 120, 180 inch-pounds. Here's your air gap. Air gap should be no less than 15 thousandths. And you kind of tighten this down evenly and equal to keep that gap all the way around there. All right, I got these 3 nuts torqued, 180 inch-pounds, 15 foot-pounds. Been checking with the gap, the feeler gauge. Also, using the clutch tool, got it in gear. Get my head in the way. But I've been bringing it around, checking the gap. You know, just going around checking it, and it's pretty much the same, no change. So yeah, I guess really there's the get that tube on. I'm going to, this is a self-locking nut there. Gonna see what I can find online, and yeah, see what I can find online. Probably replace all 3 of those nuts. Kind of something I spaced out. One was missing. That's the right thread and pitch. It's stuck on there just wrong. It's not self-locking. I got Loctite on it just in case I forget. But yeah, I'm gonna look at getting those ordered up. Other than that, I think that's it for now. Yeah, slight distractions on parts and whatnot. The chain supposed to be an 1/8 on tension. I'm gonna circle back around to that, just like the nuts here. All right, back here out on the BSA. Got a new chain adjuster in there. See, everything's got some wear, and I got new nuts for the stator. Got those both installed. Going over the book here, again, some discrepancies. This says no more than an 1/8 inch for the chain, the primary chain. If you get in this book, it says not less than 1/8 inch, but does not exceed 1/4 inch. It talks about the chain should not be taut, excuse me. It'll possible breakdown of bearing tracks. And I believe this book also calls for between 1/8 and 1/4. This is the climber. This is the original shop manual here, and this is the instruction manual. So I'm going to tension up the chain. All right, threw this cover on here real quick, give you an idea. You know, some people will adjust the chain with the cover still on, and that, you know, I'm fine with that and all, but gives you an idea of where, this plug lays. Pop this cover off. It tells you in the book check the chain midway, but doesn't give you like a tension, like a force, like snowmobile belt deflections. They'll tell you use a push scale, how much force to get a deflection. That book doesn't tell you anything like that. So I'm thinking it's just static. You just, you know, with your finger, not forcefully check the deflection. There, threw a piece of tape up there, and we'll check this, you know, free hang with the cover off. All right, so scale in between the tape here. Got that just above the chain, basically close to touching there, hovering above it. It's a little above 1/8 inch. and it's less than a quarter. I'll lock it down right there. All right, got the scale in between the tape here. That's right there at the top of the chain. And we're above an eighth. And we're below a quarter. And it's locked down, so it's a good measurement. All right, here's new clutch plates. Gonna go with the Honda Trans Oil. See, it says slide one segment of the driving plate into the chain wheel, then a plain plate. So they're all assembled, 6 each. Here's a better picture over in this other book. Instruction manual. Gives your measurement for checking if they're warped. But we got a new set, and I'm gonna soak them and stick them in. All right, good thing I was reading the instructions here. Got this MAP, no slip, no drag, MAP 2150 clutch kit, install dry. I was about ready to soak those plates in there. That is the kit we have. And yeah, we're going with the alloy pressure plate from them. Guess I should have started off with that. And we're gonna stick the plates in dry. All right, so some other things here in the instructions. We're gonna, overall length, we're gonna make this rod 9.5 for the A65. And that end, you can kind of see the dot from the part that's over on the timing side. So it's gonna lop off this end here. I'm gonna mark it off as 9.5. You can see the adjuster thing there. Also talks about heat treating the reharden it by heating the last 1/4 inch to red hot and quenching in oil. So yeah, time to have a little fun, right? All right, got that cut. Let's see, it talks about reinsert the newly cut end into the main shaft first, i.e. original hardened end towards clutch. So we'll be sticking actually the part with the dot on it towards this end. I'm gonna heat that up and dip it in some oil. All right, saved you guys from the drama heating up that rod. Should be cooled off by now. All right, we got our rod all cut there. Cleaned it up. There's definitely some, that was old oil. For some reason it left it all black and nasty. So a little bit of Scotch Brite cleaner, clean that right off. And we'll stick the new cut end in first towards the timing side covers. All right, got the rod loaded in there. I'm gonna put the got a friction plate in. Gonna go with plain plate, then friction plate, plain plate, friction plate. Yeah, you get the idea. Voila, it's all loaded up. Gonna get the cable going on here. Get that ran. So the abutment's already on the cable there. Got our other piece of the puzzle, and we got this installed too. We're gonna get that piece into the picture here. Get that all put together. Focus. Thought maybe that'd go further down, but as you can tell, as far as that's gonna seat. Kind of what you get with some of these parts. You know, the guys are making cables for them, but they're not exactly the same as the original. We'll go with that. All right, we got that going for us. Got that about right there. Obviously, there's a lot of play. We don't have the pressure plate installed yet. We don't have the piece that goes in there. It says put grease in there, so in here. So I wanted to put some grease in there. All right, here we are. We forced good quality grease into the hole. Now insert the ball supplied in the shaft hole, add more grease. All right, put that little ball in there, push a little more grease down there. All right, now we got our spring cups off the old pressure plate. Those are the old springs. The new ones here are a little bit longer than new ones. And there's our adjusters. So we got the notches on these things, just the same as the stock one there. See that notch on there? Gonna drop that in there where those line up. All right, I already stuck the ball in there and a little more grease. It's time to get these on, or this on, I should say. Get our springs in there. And draw these down evenly. Not going to record that whole bit. Get them in their happy spot. Also, here's the part numbers for the nuts. Oh. Maybe there's not a part number for the nuts. Anyhow, there's the alternator nuts. There's new chain tensioner. There's the clutch spring part numbers. All right. Says on the instructions here, normally top of spring, bottom of the nut is flush or slightly below top of spring cup. That's kind of where we're at. That is where we're at, not kind of, it is. That's the tool I use there. They look pretty even too, looking at the threads there. How much is protruding from the studs. All right, next we get to grease the special pusher. So do not grease threaded area. All right, got it greased up, not the threads, just a shank in the end there where it hits that ball. It doesn't go in any further. That's interesting. What do the instructions say on that? Stand by. For some reason, I think the grease pushed that ball out and it was dislodged out of the tube. And it was down like in this. Anyhow, pulled this out. Get them threads cleaned off here. Basically what I'm saying is I pulled it out and it made it happy. Like that, you know what I'm saying? All right, threaded in, it says. All right, so basically they say, excuse me, just special adjuster while holding jam nut, 9/16 wrench until slight outward movement of pressure plate is noted. Then back off Allen wrench, half a turn, tighten jam nut. Do not over tighten. I had to put the jam nut on there very tight. I'll run this in and see what kind of movement we get. Of course, I'm having a hell of a time seeing. I guess when there's barely any outward movement, it's like doing the other clutches, I suppose. Flashlight tells I'm blind. All right. So there's slight outward movement. Pretty sure I'm getting that right away. Excuse me. Yeah, it seems pretty similar to the other ones. Yeah, I can feel it better with it. I can't see in it. So a half inch from there is base, or a half turn from here is about right like that. Don't over tighten, it says. See how that goes. All right, so I cut that thing 9.5 inches like it says. And here's what I got going. It's kind of hard to show it. Get the idea. It's like the rod's too short. Just great. I should stick a ball bearing in there. Lop a piece of that rod off, stick it in there. All right, short piece. See how this goes out, huh? Get in there, get in your happy spot. There you go, little fella, get in your house. Ball bearing. Adjuster. Hopefully. Wow, she stiffened up awfully quick. Oh, you're gonna find this entertaining. Oh man. Okay then, that piece must be too long. Jeez. Yeah. Let's see what's going on here again. All right, so we got about a 1/4 inch piece in there, I'm guessing. I never measured it. Cut a smaller piece. This is no longer loose. Everything's happy there. And in here, see, we got a little bit of play to lever. It feels good. See if it's in gear here. Clutch there at the same time. Let me grab the wheel from the back here. Spark plugs are out. I'll grab the clutch lever, pull it in. See, it feels pretty good. So that small piece I put in there, I'm gonna look for a clutch rod and cut a rod that size. It looks like that thing should have been 9 3/4, not 9 1/2. But what do, you know? Yeah. Looks like it's ordering some more parts. All right, back out here on the old BSA. doing some measurements on clutch springs. There's the springs I installed. Here's the ones I removed. Here's the original part number ones. I suspect from the wire diameter I have Barnett springs. Going off some stuff I found on the internet. And I did read a pretty good article by John Ely. I think it's in Classic Bike. Google it, pretty good article. Not going to get into all that. There's a lot of information on the internet on setting up clutches. This thing feels good, but I have that rod that's been shortened too short, so I'm waiting on a new rod. This thing feels perfect, really. I think I'm going to pull the springs out and measure them. Just curiosity. I think they were bigger than what I took out. All right, got one of the new springs next to the old one. Some reason I was thinking they're a little taller, but it's not the case. Look pretty similar. I'm gonna measure the wire diameter and whatnot, measure them just like I did the old ones, get them written down here. All right, so I got those pretty much flush with the slot there. Some guys will say it's a good starting point to get it there, or the stud up to the top of the top here versus being at the bottom. These instructions read differently, but it's all pretty much in the same area, ballpark. Top of spring, bottom of nut is flush slightly below the top of the spring cup, and we're not quite there yet. But feels good as it is right there. I'm gonna run them in a little bit to the way the instructions read for the MAP clutch plate. All right, I'm happy with the way this clutch is pulling. I'm gonna take the rod out. We got the one that's too short in there with a little added piece. And I just wanna get one rod in there instead of what I got going on right now. All right, got the cable back apart. Took a pick, pushed through here once I pulled that piece out. Take our magnet. Where's the camera? All right, got our added piece and our ball out. Next we'll get the rod out. All right, had to move that lever all the way over and work the pick a little bit more. It's getting hung up. Well, there you go. See it protruding now. All right, got both rods here on the scale. The one on the bottom of the scale is the one that was cut. The original one I cut to 9.5 or roughly, just a little bit under maybe. So I'm thinking cut the new one. It's in the middle of the scale at 9 3/4 and see how it is from there. But it'll err a little bit on that side of it. It'll give you about a 1/16 to work with. Yeah. All right, scored it with the hacksaw. Pretty happy with that spot. I'm gonna throw it in the vise and get that cut off there. About halfway through, I guess. Keep it as square as I can. Prefer the hacksaw instead of like a cutoff wheel. Cutoff wheel will be a lot faster, but I think I get a lot cleaner cut with this saw blade. All right, got it cut. It's under 9 3/4 there. Good thing I left a little extra. Yeah, skip the whole heat treating business, but get that taken care of and get this thing put in. All right, see there, it appears to be a little bit farther out. Also at that cup there. Gonna break cable loose, see what I got going on here. All right, don't know what was going on there. Took it apart, put it back together. Everything seems happy now. Got clutch free play, the lever here about where I want it. And that thing's the adjuster's about midway, I suppose. Maybe hard to see here, but play with the springs a little bit to get the pull evenly. Still seems like it may be favoring one side. Might tweak that a little bit. I don't have that jam nut tightened either on the adjuster. But over here was where my problem was. I was thinking maybe I need to put that shorter rod back in. Those were pushed out. That plunger was pushed out. But everything seems to be good now. Kind of strange, you know, I started questioning this whole aftermarket plate here, you know, whether is it worth all this fiddling, you know. Time will tell. Put some miles on it, see how it goes. So I rotated it around, pulled the spark plugs out, and it's funny, it seems just the way it actuates. See, it seems to actuate at the same time, but it's just the way it pops out. Seems like this could be the angle I'm at looking at it. Seems like this lower one down here always seems to lag, but like I said, I spun the wheel down. It may be a perspective on looking at it. Yep. Does feel good though. All right, I'll tighten that jam nut up. All right, we've been transported down to the basement. I'm gonna squeeze this video in somewhere towards the end. I don't know if I've mentioned it or not, but possibly down the road going to a belt drive. Not 100% on that, but it's a possibility. Kind of curious how this engine, how it handles, or you know, the vibration. See what it's like compared to the other bikes. Since this has the crank's been balanced, I would say better than its factory. Yeah, might go to a belt drive down the road, but right now I'm happy with the way the clutch is. Everything feels good, and as the life of a clutch, you know, it through its wear, you know, there's stuff that wears, cable stretches, whatnot. There is adjustments needed, excuse me, and throughout a clutch's life, I guess. You know, it's not something you do regularly, but you do have to make, you know, tweaks here and there. And I could see having maybe that rod could need maybe slightly just filed down a bit, maybe down the road. We'll see. Right now, the goal is just to get it on the road and see how it does. Yeah, I'll slip this video in somewhere towards the end. Back out to the garage. All right, got the jam nut tightened up. Everything is same, no change. I did play with the lever a little bit more. Got it about right where I want it. Also over here, the plunger here has ever so slight amount of play. Just, I mean, very minimal play there. Kind of hear it there. I'm going to grease up the gasket and get that cover back on. All right, gasket's greased up. Got our 12 bolts there. Another one's supposed to be the timing side. Let's get her put on. All right, we're going with the Honda high performance trans oil there. We'll say it's 140 cc's. Primary drive, quarter pint, 140 cc's. All right, right here's your drain screw and your level screw. So let's see what we got here. It's been sitting there for a little bit, the oil. All right, so I pulled the screw out for the check the level on the primary cover. And the hole's clear. Checked that before I put the cover on. But when I pulled the screw out, nothing came out. Put exactly 140 in there, close to 140, I guess. That bottle reads in increments of 25, but it was just under 150. So, should 140 should be in there. I'll let it settle, I guess. But yeah, I'll check it tomorrow morning. But I was going to wrap this video up. I'm going to get into doing the ignition here next, get into that stuff. Anyhow, feel free to drop a comment and like and subscribe. Have a good weekend. Later.